everybody, Fake97 here, this time with a new video to diagnose this murder. I know it was long time no see, and I'm still working on the Harry Potter series, but I see recently an episode of Diagnosis Murder, and so I wanted to start a video about the series and about this one episode. And let's jump into it. Let's start with the Serious Diagnosis Murder. So first of all, I say a few things about the series itself. It's made from 1993 to 2001, and it has eight seasons. As I said, it's the series was started in 1993 and ended in 2001. And the episode I will speak about is called Gangland 1 and 2. There are two episodes. They are together, you can say, in a way. I had to look for some things. The series was created by Joyce Burdett, and the genre of the series is crime, drama, and mystery. And the first episode debuted on CBS in 1993. So let's start into the characters, or what the series is about. The series is about, I can explain it the best to go for the characters. The main character you see here on the left side by the Diagnosis Murder is Dr. Mark Sloan, portrayed by Dick Van Dyke. The woman you see here is Dr. Amanda Bentley, the chief of the pathology, and in the General Hospital, a colleague of Dr. Mark Sloan. She's portrayed at first in 1992 to 1993 in the movies. She was portrayed by Cynthia Gibb. Later, as you can see here, she's portrayed by Victoria Rowell in all of the seasons. Sorry if I spelled it wrong. I have maybe to look for a word. But I will now carry on. She's a colleague, as I said, of Dr. Mark Sloan, Dr. Amanda Bentley. Then we have Dr. Jack Parker, portrayed by Stephen Caffrey. Then we have Steve Sloan, the son of Mark Sloan. He's a police detective and lieutenant, and he's portrayed by Barry Van Dyke. And you can see him behind Dr. Amanda Bentley. He's not only in the show, even in real life, he is the son from the main character, because Stephen Sloan is portrayed by Barry Van Dyke. Then we have an administrator, Norman Briggs, who is portrayed by Michael Tucci. Then we have a secretary, Dolores Mitchell, portrayed by Dolores Hall. Then we have Dr. Jesse Travis, portrayed by Charlie Schlatter. And that's it. I know it's a lot of information. I have here another picture. It's how it is spelled in German, Diagnose Mord. And first of all, I want to say something about the series itself. The series itself, the main character they're all, you can say, main characters. The persons where I speak about, and by which actors they are portrayed. But the main character of these main characters, the main protagonist of the series, you can say, it's most likely Dr. Mark Sloan, again portrayed by Dick Van Dyke. And he is in the series a former United States Army doctor who served in MASH unit. After his service ended, he became a renowned physician and doctor, and he consults with the local police. and he can't resist to go after a good mystery or when a friend is in need. And because he's working with the police, he had some murder cases he has to solve, and his colleagues, his son, look for the name again, Steve Sloan, his son Steve Sloan, who is police detective and lieutenant, and one of his elder friends, Norman Biggs, who is an hospital administrator. They help him with his cases, and yeah, that's what the series is about. And I saw the 2 episodes. I saw them in German and in the TV, and I want to speak a little bit about it because I think that's kind of was the 2 episodes were kind of fascinating for me. It's about the episodes Gangland 1 and 2, and it's in the 7th season in 2001. And I have here some pictures. Here we see I would say we start with this picture. And here we see Dr. Mark Sloan, the main protagonist, and it's called Gangland, but it's about a person who looks like the doctor exactly, but he's from the mafia, and his name is, I have to look for it. It's most likely just called Mr. G, the person who looks like Dr. Mark Sloan, and Mr. G is a gangster, and because they look in the same way, they often think Dr. Mark Sloan, the people who knows Mr. G, the gangster Mr. Jotty, thinks Dr. Mark Sloan is Mr. G, the gangster and the gangster boss, and the people who knows Dr. Mark Sloan thinks when they see the gangster boss, it's the doctor, and that causes a lot of problems, you can say. And pretty an interesting story because in the end, of course, it can be solved, and it's about there's some land, some the gangsters need, and he's the boss, but there are people who he works with who wants to have the same power and tries to kill Mr. G. And sometimes, or not always, tries to kill him, but get him out of their ways. And they often think Dr. Mark Sloan is Mr. G. So there's a lot of trouble for the doctor, for the main protagonist there. And in the end, it's pretty interesting because the gangster boss later, because he wants to protect himself, says sometimes, I'm the doctor, to be safe, and gets a little bit in his life. And also the doctor gets a little bit in the life of the gangster because they capture him, for example, because his daughter want to do her own thing. And it was pretty interesting because later on the gangster boss died, and who is the murderer of the boss, and who is the murderer of the, because there is kind of a pony land for kids before on this country, on this place, the mafia, where the mafia want to build the so-called Gangland. And there was, there was a place for kids where they can ride on ponies or horses, and they murdered the person who owns it to own the place by themselves, and who is actually the murderer. And in the beginning, you may have thought it's the gangster boss, but he was killed by somebody. And then you think about his daughter, but his daughter, she wanted, I think she's called Maya in the series, she wanted to have more power, but in the end she loves her dad, and her dad doesn't want her to have so much power because he's worried about her, and she misinterprets misinterpreted his behavior, and in the end it was one of his partners, you can say. He betrayed him. I think he was called Eddie there, and he even killed Mr. G. And Dr. Mark Sloan and his team can solve the problem. There were a few other. There was There was maybe the main line where the series goes through, but it was not the only case. There were even other stuff going on in the series, but I think it was just kind of beautiful for me to see, because in the series for me it was just beautiful to see, because for example when Dr. Mark Sloan gets caught, as you can see here, from two of Mr. G's guys who worked at that time for her daughter, he could flee, he could run away from them, because there was another character, and it was kind of pretty interesting character. Here you see in this picture Mr. G, because the main protagonist, and this is Eddie, the murderer and the enemy of Mr. G. And here you see Maya, Mr. G's daughter, and Dr. Mark Sloan and his son. I have to look always for the names. Steve Sloan. And here you see, I have to look for the name of the actor. And here you see the actress. She's called Michelle Strafford, and she played Trish. And it's a pretty interesting character, because I think it's interesting because this character doesn't belong to the main protagonist characters of the series. It was just a character for this episode, for these 2 episodes. Just a character for these 2 episodes. And she was, you can say, the young lover for Mr. G. He's a gangster boss, and she was beautiful. She was, the stupid blonde woman, who's just beautiful looking. And Mr. G was using her because she looks great, and she was doing some things for him where he thinks, she don't know really what's going on, but she can do some things for me. And also Eddie, the one who betrayed Mr. G, the gangster boss, you can say, used her against Mr. G and thinks, she's the stupid blonde girl, who's just good looking and has no idea what's going on. I can use her, she's just the toy of Mr. G. I can use her for my plans. And then you have Maya, the daughter of Mr. G, and she thought the same thing about her. And, that's the girl my daddy is playing with, but maybe through her I can get some information and stuff like that and use her for my benefit against my father, because she thought in the beginning, okay, he doesn't want me to get bigger. He, keeps me little, you can say. But later on, she knows why he did this, because she has a brother before and he died, and he doesn't want that she die too. But it wasn't so emotional. In the end, it was kind of emotional, but before not, because, he was a gangster, and then he sees Dr. Mark Sloan's life and how they treat him with respect instead of fear, and he feels like, okay, he is kind of a good guy, and I want to, and when I'm dying, I will try to get my best that my daughter sees me with more respect, or it isn't so worse as it was before. The interesting part about this story is, even though they are the main protagonist and you can say the MVPs of the whole series and even of these episodes, for me in these episodes the most interesting character was Trish, because they all thought she was kind of stupid and stuff like that. But she was in fact very, very clever. And when Dr. Max Sloan was captured, he saw that Maya thinks she's so clever, the daughter of the gangster boss, but was not so clever as she thought she is, or that's what he gained from it, or what he said later on to his son and his friends. And by Trish, the stupid, blonde, beautiful girl, she just seemed to be the stupid toy girl, but in fact she's very clever. I mean, she helps him. One of the reasons is she helps him run away and flee and be free again. But there was more of the scene, as you can see later on. For example, then Eddie, later on, he said, everybody used you for his own benefit, but on which side you're on? And she said, I have no side, you can say. She just, she let it happen to her because she was not on a side, and it was the safest way for her. And for her, to Mr. G, she had money and stuff like that. And if she wouldn't cooperate with Eddie or with one of them, or Mr. G or Maya, she would have problems with this person, So that could be very dangerous. But she already saw all this and know what they're doing and how they're acting. She knows everything. And she said, I'm on the side on the doctor's side, even though we, never kissed or something, and never know each other before. And it's pretty interesting because when the doctor was captured, everybody thought the gangster was Mr. G, but she saw very early, even though she doesn't show it, she saw that he's different, so she doesn't know that he's the doctor because she doesn't know. How does she know? How can she know it? But she knows that he's not Mr. G because Mr. G looks at her very different and treats her very differently. And it's pretty interesting because nobody sees in the beginning that he isn't Mr. G because he looks like him. So everybody thought, okay, his physical appearance, it's the same. And so they don't really look after the character, but she, on the first view, she saw he's different because, Mr. G looks at her and finds her very, sexual attractive and, sees her as his toy, you can say, and the doctor treats her with respect and very differently and doesn't know really what was going on. And she saw, he's kind of a good guy and has nothing to do with it, and I help him. And that's very cool because if you really think about this episode, she's totally clever. She totally gets every of the plans of these three persons of the gangster plans, you can say, and knows everything about it and helps nobody because nobody treats her like really a human or with respect or anything. But she just used the material benefit, you can say, and tries to not be in a dangerous position, and saws that the doctor treats her with respect, and so she manipulates the people or helps him to escape. And that's it. You can say. And it was really nice touch of this episode, and really interesting character. And thought it was kind of sad that in the end of the episode she just goes away. We didn't see her again, but it was pretty interesting character, so I wanted to speak about this. And as I said, this is the main line the main action part in this series, in these episodes, in these 2 episodes. But they are, beneath this main act, you can say, there are different parts of this episode. Like here you see Dr. Amanda Bentley, and she has here an orphan who lived by parents who adopted him, but they didn't treat him very well, and she wanted to take care of him, and that's also pretty hard for her. But in the end, she can adopt him. But this was a pretty hard way in the same episode to get the certifications to be able to take care of him, and so he doesn't have to go back to the parents who treat him very badly. And yeah, that's it for now, and see you guys. Bye. Ciao. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed to watch the video. Bye bye.